Hi friends, today on Doodle the Travel Bug we go to the Cleveland Museum of Natural History to find out what the Cleveland connection is to Alaska's most famous sled dogs, Togo and Balto, and stick around to see how the Cleveland Zoo fits into this story. And like always, don't forget to subscribe and be part of our never-ending road trip.
So, where are we going today?
We are going to the Cleveland Natural History Museum.
Hey, I know that place.
Yeah. Well, remember when we went to Alaska and we saw Togo? And when we were there, I was wondering how Cleveland, of all places, ended up with Balto. And so there's a really great story behind it, and I'll talk more about it when we get to the museum. All right?
Sounds good.
All right, let's go. The Cleveland Museum of Natural History is located in Cleveland's University Circle, and it's the home to the American hero Balto. How in the heck did Balto end up in Cleveland? So the famous Huskies, Togo and Balto, were the wonder dogs that helped save a small Alaskan town. In 1925, diphtheria swept through the small town of Nome. No plane or ship could get to the isolated town in the winter to deliver medicine. The Great Race of Mercy was organized, and in the worst possible weather, and in 5.5 days, a serum was delivered. Balto led the last leg of the relay and receives credit for saving the town, although Togo's leg of the journey was the longest by far and the most dangerous. Balto and his sled team were taken on the road to the lower 48 as a way to exploit their fame. Lucky for us, the museum's learning coordinator, Lee Gamble, is here to explain where Cleveland comes into this story.
Balto was forgotten. He was just sold off to this one guy in California who was running a little tiny, he called it a museum, but it was more like a vaudeville act, it's like a circus. And poor Balto was just being brought out on stage with his buddies, the last 6 dogs who were still with him, and being shown on stage, but then just thrown back in a cage all day. So that's not a good way for a husky to live, just sitting in a cage all day. And it was some random guy from Cleveland that saw this happening on a business trip, said, "Can I buy that dog?" The man that had him said, "Bah, you gotta buy all 7 of them because I can't make any money without Balto." So the guy said, "Well, I'll give you $100 if you promise not to sell them until I can get back to Cleveland and see if I can raise the money." And the guy gave him 10 days. He said, "Okay." So 10 days later, that guy named George Kimball, was back here in Cleveland, put an ad in the Plain Dealer, and the city of Cleveland just freaked out and went Balto crazy and raised the money to do it. Kids like you. We meet people now who are in their 90s. I met a lady who had just turned 100, and she was one of the kids like you that donated their lunch money to help save Balto. How fun is that?
That's great.
Yeah, man. So that's why he's here, because after we bought him, we had a parade and everybody was very excited, and they're like, "Well, now what do we do with him?" And so they put him at the zoo, and everybody could go visit him at the zoo. So he had a great time the last 6 years of his life because he got petted and loved by tons of people. And there you go. So now he's here, and Togo is up in Alaska where he should be.
Yeah.
And you've seen them both. How fun is
So
that?
there's 3 heroes in this story. The 2 dogs and the city of Cleveland, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Lee tells us occasionally for special events, like the Iditarod, the museum will loan Balto to Alaska so that Togo and Balto can be displayed together. We explore the rest of the museum and discover the science and mysteries of the natural world before hitting the road and going to Balto's last home, where he was so loved and taken care of, the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo. So we are here at the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo in front of the wolf exhibit, and here is the only place that you can see Togo and Balto together year-round.
What is it?
This is what Balto used to wear. So Alec, do you know who you're on?
Ooh.
You're on Balto. And then who's this one? Is this Togo? Togo and Balto.
For more unique travel shows, like and subscribe to see where Doodle Bug goes next.